Hey, what's up guys? You're watching Theo Joe Tech, and in this video I'm going to talk about my thoughts on whether or not it's worth it to get a 144Hz monitor for gaming. If you're a gamer, you've almost certainly heard of these types of monitors. They're just high refresh rates, and you may have been wondering, is it worth it to get one? Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors that go into choosing a gaming monitor. I've made videos about those before, but I thought I would talk about whether or not it's worth it, all other things considered equal. Does 144Hz really make a difference? To make a long video short, the answer is yes. I would definitely say that it is worth it to get a higher refresh rate monitor over, say, a 60Hz monitor for gaming. Now, let's talk about specific reasons why. The main reasons I would say are, first of all, you're gonna get much smoother motion, less motion blur because of that high refresh rate. Also, you're going to get less screen tearing, which is also going to improve the quality of the image, especially during quick motion. And finally, you're going to get less input lag, which is very important for twitch shot games such as Counter-Strike or other FPSs. Smoother motion should be pretty self-explanatory because the monitor is refreshing twice as fast. It means that you're going to have twice as many frames, there's not going to be bigger jumps between the motions, and it's just going to look silky smooth. And it can actually help you aim, I think. For example, if you're in game and you're turning really quickly to aim at someone in the side of the screen, when you go to turn, there's going to be less motion blur, there's going to be more frames on the screen, so your brain has much more information to go off of. So in the same example, when you're turning, your brain is going to be more accurately able to tell when you need to stop turning and shoot at the person. And if you are someone who does use a 144Hz monitor, you probably know how much of a difference it is, especially when going back and trying to use a 60Hz monitor. Everything just looks blurry, you can't even aim. It's like night and day, really. Another benefit of a high refresh rate monitor is that you're gonna get much less screen tearing, and that's basically when the monitor gets a new image to display right in the middle of a refresh, so there appears to be a tear in the middle of the screen where it's different images and it's gonna look jagged. But if you have a high refresh rate monitor, that's going to happen less often because you are more likely to get through an entire refresh before the screen gets updated. And if it does still tear, it's going to be much less noticeable because the difference between the two teared sections are going to be smaller because there is that higher refresh rate. This again is going to make the images on the screen look much better, especially when you're moving quickly. Screen tearing can make a big difference. It just makes the image look really ugly. It's hard to explain. It's not quite motion blur, but it's tears in the middle of the screen, so that's no good. Now, if you get a monitor that has G-Sync or FreeSync, that will also eliminate tearing in a similar way that vertical sync might, except that with G-Sync and FreeSync, it adds very, very little input lag, if at all, whereas vertical sync adds a lot of input lag. The final benefit I'm going to talk about is input lag. The refresh rate of your monitor will directly affect how much input lag you have on your monitor. For example, going from moving your mouse to it appearing on the screen, or a signal going to your computer from your internet and then appearing on the screen, such as characters moving and that sort of thing. There are, of course, other factors that affect this, but all other things equal, a 144Hz monitor will have lower input lag than a 60Hz monitor. So let me do an example. Let's say we have two monitors that are equal in every way, except on one it's 144Hz and on one it's 60Hz. And let's say that these monitors are magical monitors that have zero input lag except for the refresh rate. So theoretically, you move the mouse and that monitor instantly receives that signal to show that movement. On a 60Hz monitor, we can do 1/60, and that would be 16 milliseconds. So even if there is zero other input lag, that monitor is gonna have at least 16 milliseconds of input lag, just from the monitor taking time to refresh. But of course, in real life, there are several other factors, even down to the USB controller your mouse is plugged into. Then it goes to the game engine, which has to process what's going on and how the image is changing. Then the graphics card has to send it to the monitor, and then it shows on the screen. Now, on a 144Hz monitor, you do 1/144, and then we get 7 milliseconds, much lower than the 16. That's 9 milliseconds lower, and that might not sound like a lot, but in a game where every millisecond counts, like Counter-Strike, it will make a difference. And it's also important if you buy a gaming monitor that's specifically made for gaming with low input lag, it might say 1 millisecond input lag, but then it's 60Hz, then you're not really gaining anything because it's gonna have a high refresh rate lag. So that's all the reasons I would say that it's better to get a high refresh rate monitor than a just 60 hertz monitor, all other things equal. But of course, there are other considerations when you're going to buy a gaming monitor. As I mentioned before, the panel type you get may even be more important if you need, for example, really good color representation as opposed to just pure performance. I did make another video talking about how to choose a gaming monitor. I recommend you check that out. It's a pretty good summary, I think. I'll put a link that pops out right there. And hopefully you guys found this video helpful in that one as well. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up so I know you liked it, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them down in the comment section as well. If you want to keep watching, I've got some other videos on the right hand side. You can just click those or look in the description for the same link, like if you're on a phone. And if you want to subscribe, I make new videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I think it should be worth it. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys either here on YouTube or on Twitter, so thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Have a good one.